Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Dr. Angel Storm. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am talking to you about something that is super important to me, and it will be super important to your custody case with a narcissist. If you are in the process of going through custody, or honestly even divorce, or if you're in some sort of legal dispute with over a business with a narcissist, it's really important that you understand this. Some other ways that this could be applicable to you is also if you're filing some sort of complaint at work against a narcissist, and especially if that narcissist is your boss, you want to understand the difference between speaking about what has happened to you and holding the person accountable and making sure that you are able to communicate exactly what has happened and why this has been so devastating to you, versus adopting the victim mentality. So this is something, again, it comes up so often, and especially, please listen, if you are in a custody situation with a narcissist, please listen to this video and understand why this is so important for your case. So first of all, sometimes when we've gone through something super traumatic, it can be hard for us to not just fully embrace and identify with that thing that has happened to us. So it's not just something that has happened in our lives. It's that now defines who we are, that now takes over our identity. So instead of just being like, instead of saying, okay, I was in a car accident, for example, it's the idea that I am an accident, that I cause destruction and chaos no matter where I go. So understanding that something can happen to you versus taking on the actual identity of that traumatic event is super important. And especially when it comes to narcissistic abuse. The whole goal of the narcissist is to dominate, right? Is to assert complete and total control over you. And this includes your thoughts. This includes the thoughts that you have about yourself, about your life, about your future, about your kids, about what it is and what isn't possible in your life. And so if you're around this, and especially if it's nonstop, or if you felt like it was something that you could control or manage on your own, and it took you a while before you were able to get outside help or tell other people about what you were actually living, the situation, the gravity of the situation can seem so overwhelming, like that there's no way out, right? And so you start to believe the narrative that the narcissist told you even more. So you're never worthy of this. You'll never find somebody as good as me. If you leave me, your life will be hell. You'll never amount to anything. Any kind of thing that the narcissist may have spoken over you, you're now seeing that it's coming true, right? That's actually the reality that you're walking out. This point of view has a profound impact on the way that you will now describe your situation to other people. And specifically, again, if you are in a custody situation with a narcissist, this will come across in the way that you speak to third parties that are involved in the case, in the way that you present yourself in the courtroom. All of this will impact your case and the findings of your case. A lot of times, when people have not been healed from the extreme amount of trauma that they have gone into and gone through, and maybe are just now coming out of, or maybe they're still in some sort of relationship with that narcissist, and I don't just mean like still legally married or something like that. Sometimes people are still actually living together. There's even further abuse happening when you're co-parenting, and obviously the court system is being used as an outlet for furthering the abuse. Sometimes people just get to the place where they've had enough, right? And they just want everybody to know their story. They want everybody to know how they feel and what they've gone through, and why the other person should be held accountable and things like that. When you speak from this place of, all of these things have happened to me, I can't do anything about it unless you, third party, unless you judge, unless you, parents of the narcissist, unless you, flying monkeys, hear my side of the story and make something happen. You're speaking from a place of victimhood. You are going to speak from a place of victim mentality. And the reason why this is so important is because it will come off that way. It will come across as somebody who is vindictive, somebody who is now trying to manipulate the third party being involved in the case, or even the judge. Your actions will probably portray the level of disgust and of little tolerance that you have left for the narcissist and their behavior, meaning you're pointing out every small thing that they do. And again, I just want to explain what's happening before I come back to tell you exactly how to behave in these situations, as opposed to, so for example, you dropped off the kids 5 minutes late, you didn't respond to my text within the, you were 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, late responding to the text. I'm holding you in contempt for all of these things. When we focus on those little things, because we never had justice for anything, we want justice for all of those things. This is coming from a place of deep victimhood. I know what you're going to say probably is that, no, this is just me wanting justice, and I've gone so long without justice that I can't watch any more things happen without him being held accountable, or without her facing consequences for those actions. I get that, right? I do understand that. When there's third parties involved, so whether this is the court, this is your work, this is even mutual friends, or whoever you may have involved in your situation, they are not going to see it that way. They are going to see that as extremely petty, which is why there's such a difference. And this is something that I work on with my clients, to be able to step out from the victimhood mentality and actually speak about what has happened to you in a very clear and concise way that does not come across as somebody who's vindictive, as somebody who just wants revenge, of somebody who is holding a grudge because you're getting a divorce, or because you regret things in your own life or whatever. Your words and the way that you behave in front of other people are a large portion of how the story, the narrative about the situation will be shaped. When you behave in these ways that I just listed, you're making a big deal because they're 5 minutes late. And are they 5 minutes late? And is that against court order? Absolutely. But the way that you behave and handle those situations needs to be from a place of not this victimhood mentality. A person in this victimhood mentality is literally looking at every single small poke that the narcissist does to you as further wounding to me. Instead of looking at this situation as this narcissist is trying to wound me, which is absolutely what they're trying to do. Absolutely. But you may be the only one in your situation up until this point who knows that that's what the narcissist is trying to do. So instead of looking at it from the same point of view as the narcissist, which is the narcissist wants to wound me and they're wounding me, look at it from the place of a person who is fully and totally healed, who is totally in control of their future, who has an independent way of thinking apart from the narcissist. It's totally separate from the narcissist. Not your thoughts, your emotions, they're not being controlled or influenced in any way by the narcissist. What would that person say? That person would say, who cares? Okay, you don't want to go against, you want to go against the court order? Okay. Has no impact on me. I'm going to focus on me and my life. I'm not going to go against the court order. I'm going to do exactly what I'm told I should be doing. I'm going to have the children's best interest in mind at every step that I take. When I can tell my story from this perspective, from this point of view, and I can put together a cohesive picture for the third party involved, whether this is a guardian ad litem, a co-parenting counselor, co-parenting coordinator, whoever it is, HR if you're doing this for your work, or third party friends, whatever your situation is, the third parties, when I can tell them like, yep, that's the situation, and it has no influence over my reaction to it, my emotional reaction, and even the words that I use. A lot of times when people tell their story, they also let the third party know what should happen. Well, he's always late. He's always doing this. And you know what should happen is that he should have less time with the kids. He shouldn't be allowed to do that. He's untrustworthy. We're putting our own woundings into the narrative. I'm not justifying the way that you feel, the way that you've been treated, what you have endured. And I'm very well aware of it myself, as you know. If you've been watching this channel at all, you know that I personally have gone through this. It's not a matter of saying like, okay, none of that matters, or my emotions don't matter, how I feel doesn't matter. None of that's true. They are important, they do matter, but if you constantly are speaking out of your wounding, the end result that you want to have happen is never going to come. If I want to be whole, I can't constantly be picking at my wound and opening it up and letting it ooze out everywhere, which is exactly what happens when we are allowing our emotions and the past experiences that we've had with this person to drive our narrative. The narrative needs to be, again, one from a complete place of healing. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened to me without throwing in my own mix of my wound, right? I can explain to somebody that I was in a car accident, that I was badly injured, without describing the fact like, well, the person was driving recklessly, they weren't paying attention. All of those things are true. They're true, but they have a different time, a different place to be brought out. In other words, typically, when you are dealing with the third parties, you need to explain to them the situation of what's going on, and you need to heal in another place. When you try to use the guardian ad litem as like the vehicle for your healing, of getting somebody to listen to you, of getting somebody to understand what you're saying, first of all, they're not on your side. And second of all, you're going to get more wounded. If I've been in a car accident, I don't just go up to somebody who's walking on the street. Could be the nearest person to me, could be a homeless person who isn't trained to deal with a compound bone fracture or something like that. I need to go to a trained professional to have that wound dealt with. This is the same exact thing. So what I'm saying is, while that person might be involved and they might be nearby your case, that doesn't mean that they're the person you go to for your healing. And when you try to explain your entire situation and to a person who isn't qualified, and nor is it their job to help you heal from that wound, you're damaging your case. You are further damaging yourself, because you're going to be more frustrated that you told your whole story and that person didn't take it seriously, and now there's no justice for your situation even further. But you went to the wrong person, you went to the wrong outlet, and you used the wrong words for that person and what their job is. And so I encourage my clients to always get their own healing done first. So hire yourself a life coach, get yourself a therapist, a counselor, do some sort of activity that is going to help you come back to center every single day. If you don't get healed, everything you do is going to come from that place of wounding, and the people that you're going to be interacting with in the process of going through court, especially if there's children involved, are not qualified to help you, and nor is it their job to do that. And you're going to be very disappointed. You're going to end up being more and more wounded every time you try to tell your story and seek healing in a place that was never available to give you healing. It's like going to the gas station, but expecting them to operate like a hospital. This is not the place for it. The people who are trained for that are not in there. So we need to be wise when we're choosing our words and not operating out of our wounding. The things that you have gone through are very real, they're very true, they're very valid. But the way that you describe them and who you describe them fully to needs to be really thought out. You need to understand the system that you are dealing with. And next week I have a video coming out that talks about the justice system versus the legal system, which is something that I've spoken on a lot during interviews, and I always go over this with my clients and making sure that you understand the difference. And so my video next week is talking about that. You need to know the system that you are operating in and not expecting that system to bend around your case. While it may be right that it does bend around your case, the chances of that happening are very slim. And so you need to follow the rules that as they are laid out and take notes about what you would like to do or ways that you could potentially influence the system once you're out of it. The middle of your case is not the time for you to be taking up vigilante activities and trying to rewrite the entire system. Again, this is going to appear that you are operating from your wounding, and chances are you are in that situation. Just because something needs to get changed doesn't mean you're the right one to change it, and that's the right time for you to change it. So it's really important for you to take a full and a realistic account of where you are in terms of your own individual healing, amongst the fact that you're trying to be a parent or whatever the case may be, a business owner, you're trying to do all of these things. It's still very important that you recognize you need to get healed, because the words that you speak are going to come from whatever place you're speaking, you're in at the moment, right? If you're not fully healed, you can't mask that. And your narrative is always going to come across that way. So please take into account your where you are right now and do what you need to do in order to be fully healed so that you can completely tell your story in a convincing way that allows your trauma to be heard and validated without causing you further trauma. So you guys, I hope this video has helped you. And if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel below and click on the little bell so that you're notified whenever I upload a new video to this channel.